kids that haven't are not to the age of shaving. That's a general rule of thumb that I like. Dr. Andrews did my surgery, prominent doctor, very well known in baseball. His age limit for throwing a curveball, he says you should be shaving. So if you're not shaving, there are ways that you can get curveball action without breaking your wrist and keep your strength, your arm healthy. One is the knuckle curve. You take your middle finger on the outside of the seam and just knuckle this one up. Don't squeeze or put too much pressure on it. And then you just throw it like a fastball. It's just going to come over. You might come, a little bit this way with it. When you're first trying it out, you probably want to start high. It's a finesse pitch. You don't throw it, just yank it. You just throw it, stay smooth. The grip generates the curveball speed and spin, and it also decreases the velocity to where you get this action, okay? It's not gonna be a tight spinning curveball, but it's a slower pitch that you get that action on. Another way, for kids that's got smaller fingers or some that can't do that, and we still wanna try to get something off speed so we can come behind it with a fastball, we go 2 fingers here, all right? Put the 3rd finger on the side. You're just coming over, just over the top like a fastball, maybe stay behind it just a little bit. That one, again, you're not going to get as much spin. Get more of this action where you're coming down, more of a 12-6, slower pitch, changes the speeds, and gives the hitter something else to look at. Come back with a fastball, looks a lot faster. Curveball. Now, again, some people throw curveballs with different grips, just like the changeup, all right? So when you get to the point where you're able to start breaking your wrist and really snapping the curveball, I like to stay where you're you've got rotation of the 4 seams, all right? You're gonna get more action with 4 seams catching air and biting. So I like to stay on the horseshoe either this way, this side, and something, even if it's here, depending on where you're at, when your arm comes through and starts to come over the top of the ball, the spin you've got is these 4 seams catching air. So other pitches, you wanna be loose with your fingers. You can't have a tight grip because you're tightening the arm muscles in your forearm. You want to stay loose. Curveball, you're going to probably add a little more pressure on your fingertip into the ball, but not with all of them. You're not going to tighten your forearm muscles. You're just going to add a little pressure there, okay? Come on the outside, come over the top, and get your arm and wrist to where you're in the right position so that it comes around and through the ball. A lot of kids throw a good curveball, so then they want to throw a better one, right? So they come back and they really want to crank even harder. Well, that's not going to get you more break out of your curveball and probably going to be poorly as far as accuracy. You want to come through, stay smooth, get your wrist in the right position, and then just come over the top, down and through. So, however you hold it, point being, you want to get all 4 seams catching air. So slider's a pitch I threw. I threw the knuckle curve. It was a lot slower, so curveball was a little too much like the knuckle curve, so I wanted a harder breaking ball. So I called it a slider. I'd get up on the horseshoe in the loop, get my fingers to where they're in the corner, and when I came through, same thing as a curveball. It would be a harder, more velocity. I put more pressure on both fingers and came through. On this one, versus having all 4 seams catching air, I could spin it to where it was more of a 2-seam spin, but it was going back the other direction. So that was something I liked that not a lot of people do. So a lot of pitchers will go with a slider. They'll still use the 4 seams. You get a lot of the same spin that you see on a regular curveball, but it'll be a sharper breaking, not as much. It's not going to be a lot of downward break. It's going to be more left to right, right to left, late breaking, 6 to 8 inches versus big looping curveball.